Sri Lanka is a country with a population of over 21 million, comprising of 73% Sinhalese, 18% Tamils, 7% Muslim, and the remaining 2% Burgher and others. In Sri Lanka, as with anywhere in the world, gender-based violence is an issue that cuts across ethnicity, religion, income, education level, and geographic location. In order to trigger broader changes and action, it is important for societal acknowledgement and recognition of gender-based violence. Public campaigns using progressive mediums of communication technology, arts, web, and social media is one such way of doing so. It is also one approach through which men, who often play a dominant role in innovative and creative fields, can be active implementers as well as target audiences. Women Defining Peace,
For good in the years to come.
Diverse public campaigns were conducted by partner organizations, including using creative arts, community engagement, mainstream and social media.
How
do we, as a media organization, take this message to the public? How can we contribute usefully? We were able to identify it.
It is possible to engage segments of the population that are not usually involved in the issue when using new mediums and creative approaches. EFM is a Colombo-based radio station catering to listeners between 25 to 45 years of age, mostly in the private sector.
Well, the initiatives that EFM came up with for the gender-based violence can be divided into three categories. One is the awareness campaign on the issue. Second is the 16 Days of Activism campaign. And the third one is the campaign, or basically it's a symposium targeting the school children. For the first campaign, which was held in March, in line with the International Women's Month, we wanted basically to just lay down the foundation in terms of gender-based violence.
And here's a fantastic little synopsis of what it's all about.
EFM used various interfaces for its campaigns. These included strong messages from presenters, on-air discussion, and specialized news segments via the radio station, as well as through web and social media like Facebook. The campaign focused on positive messages of masculinity and roles of men and boys in preventing and addressing gender-based violence in Sri Lanka. Relevant resources and materials were researched, compiled, and shared by WDP for dissemination.
It's International Women's Month.
Hey, it's Graham. As a child, I grew up with two sisters, and today, I'm a proud father of two beautiful girls. I grew up seeing various forms of violence, but I wasn't able to do anything about it. I can do something about it now and today, so that I know my girls will never see any injustice just because they were born girls. I started from my home, believing that women are equals, and you should start with yours too. You know it's the right thing to do.
Gender-based violence is prevalent. It's an issue. Take a stand. Make the pledge.
For the second part of the campaign, we wanted to tell our listeners as well as internet users that they can do something about this campaign. We enumerated stuff that they can use in order to intervene gender-based violence if they witness it.
The campaign focused on action and ways of engaging the public in discussing interventions that could be taken by bystanders and witnesses. Both on radio and social media, listeners were invited to discuss potential everyday scenarios of gender-based violence and possible action they could take. Tips and strategies to intervene were also shared by EFM.
I actually learned that there was more to gender-based violence than just physical abuse. Even verbal, even a catcall or a whistle could be gender-based violence. I mean, that kind of thing I wasn't aware of, but I was glad that I found out that even that could be considered gender-based violence.
EFM's social media forums alone garnered over 300 posts, with comments reaching close to 1,500 online users.
We did receive many positive comments from our listeners. They were happy that EFM undertook such an issue. We also did get feedback from our listeners who weren't aware that the issue persisted in the country. They were blind to it, and they were happy that we brought it up, and they found out that it existed and what they could do to not let it happen, because many of them committed it without knowing that it was gender-based violence.
Partners had to constantly monitor online spaces and, where needed, moderate certain opinions and views that were expressed to match up with ethical considerations. WDP facilitated a process whereby teams were also prepared to answer frequently asked questions that arose during the campaign.
And for the third part, we held a workshop targeting the school children, because we believe as early as teenagers, we have to tell them, that gender-based violence exists and that they can do something about it, since they are our future.
I pledge to never commit, condone, or remain silent about violence against women. Thank you.
The reason why we wanted to engage school kids was because they were our next generation, and they needed to know how to handle the issue, and that the issue actually existed. Because I'm sure even some of the school children probably are going through domestic violence, and they wouldn't know what to do about it. So it was an easier way to get them together. What we did was we conducted a radio workshop. So kids interested in media and radio would attend. We actually had a good turnout. And what we did was we introduced them to radio. And then we asked them to come up with their own campaign that they could design in order to make awareness to the problem within their own community and school.
Parallel to the radio campaigns, EFM also conducted street promotions, disseminating stickers and pamphlets about the issue to listeners and fans, giving them an opportunity to discuss it face-to-face with the team. The campaigns centered on a pledge of individual action and commitment against gender-based violence. Sri Lanka Development Journalist Forum, SDJF, was engaged to produce radio programs on gender-based violence issues faced by Muslim women, targeting the predominantly Tamil-speaking community.
இத்தகைய பிரச்சனைகளை தீர்ப்பதற்காக நாம் பல நடவடிக்கைகளை மேற்கொண்டோம். ஒன்று, ஊடகத்தினை பயன்படுத்தி இந்த பிரச்சனைகளை எவ்வாறு
We took several steps to address issues affecting Muslim women. One step was to look into ways and means of using media, and we produced radio dramas to bring these issues to the attention of society. We directly went to the field, spoke to women and recorded the problems that they face. We then categorized these cases under several topics and organized discussion forums in various locations for people to further share and discuss their experiences and issues. These were then recorded and produced as radio programs and shared with the general public.
The program got over 20,000 responses, including text messages and calls.
Following the airing of the radio programs, we received a lot of feedback through telephone calls and text messages. People also sent letters. The responses were both positive and negative.
The print media was also used extensively to present evidence-backed opinions and to engage the public in dialogue around crucial issues such as polygamy and problems women face under the Muslim personal law and Qazi court system in Sri Lanka.
We also tried to bring out these issues to the public through the use of print media. We continuously wrote paper articles about the problems faced by Muslim women, particularly in legal aspects. We got both positive and negative feedback for the articles.
We got various views, ideas and perceptions from people of all walks of life. We received a lot of positive responses, particularly from the female audience.
While timely interventions are necessary when working with particular religious communities, it is important to understand the sensitivities and challenges involved.
Initially, print media organizations showed reluctance to publish these articles, but we tried to personally engage with them. Some of them published one article but discontinued the rest. Some did not wish to have any association or contact with us. However, we talked to the journalists about these issues and persuaded them, and as a result, we continue to publish these issues. Several people came out stating that these were issues that were not to be spoken of or highlighted before.
A total of 15 paper articles were published and have paved the way for different perspectives to be discussed among the community.
இந்த எதிர்ப்புகள் இருக்கின்ற அதேவேளை எங்களுக்கு பலர் தமது ஆதரவுகளையும் வழங்கியிருக்கின்றார்கள். எதிர்ப்புகளை நாங்கள் பார்க்கும்போது அது அரசியல் மட்டத்தில்
We faced oppositions from Muslim political circles and religious leaders.
மத்தியிலிருந்து எதிர்ப்புகள் எங்களுக்கு
Although at the same time
அதேபோல அதே விதமாக அரசியல்வாதிகள்
we continue to receive support from within the same circles.
ஆதரவுகளும் எங்களை வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றன.
I think the Muslim community is of the mindset where it believes in suppressing women through the patriarchal ideology.
வைக்கின்ற ஒரு ஆணாதிக்க மனோபாவம் முஸ்லிம் சமூகத்திலே தொடர்ந்து
This attitude has prevailed for a long time through history.
வரலாற்று காலம் தொட்டே முஸ்லிம் சமூகத்திலே தொடர்ச்சியாக அந்த மனோபாவம்
We cannot change that attitude and perception immediately.
இந்த மனோபாவத்தை திடீரென்று
It takes time.
மாற்ற முடியாது. இதற்கு நிறைய காலம் எடுக்கும்.
This unique initiative took into account that men sensitized to and working on the issues affecting Muslim women in Sri Lanka held comparative advantages in terms of access to male religious leaders, being vocal about gender-based violence issues from men's perspective, and in taking strategic risks while implementing initiatives.
But it has now come to a situation where people have realized that these issues should be spoken about. In the meantime, we have begun to speak to lawyers and legislators to see how we could take this initiative to the next level.
Another similar radio-based campaign as that of EFM was with Neth FM on dissemination of key messages about gender-based violence to the Sinhala-speaking audience. On-air activities included airing of news segments, radio presenters talking about and discussing the issue, and specific episodes on violence against women via their flagship investigative program, Balumgala.
A media organization can play a major role in these types of discussion. Just by how an incident is reported by the presenter or newscaster can further encourage perpetrators to commit violations. How words are used really matters when delivering information. When doing such initiatives, the understanding we got was important. Media can play a big part in taking this message of combating gender-based violence to the public. In fact, media should take the first step.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගෙදරදි කාන්තාවන්ට විරුද්ධව සිදුවන ප්‍රචණ්ඩ ක්‍රියාවන් සුළුවෙන් තැකීමට කොහොමටවත් බෑ. බීමත්කම, දුප්පත්කම, අඩු අධ්‍යාපන මට්ටම් වගේ දේවල් ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වයක් සිදුවීමට බලපාන මූලික හේතු නෙමේ. ඊට දායක වෙන සිසු කාරණා විතරයි. ඒ හින්දා බුද්ධිමත්ව සිතන්න. පිරිමියෙකු වුණු පමණින් කාන්තාවන්ට එරෙහිව බලය යොදවන්න එපා. එය සමස්තයටම නිගා දෙන කරුණක් වෙයි.
If we look at the angle through which it was approached, we didn't try to introduce it as a new issue, but as something that was happening within the society. Our views were discussed. There was not much negative feedback. There were some, but most responses were positive. People said it was very informative, that they didn't know about the issue before, and afterwards, many recognized it as an issue. Especially on the investigative program, when we invited people to call in with their experiences, we realized that there were many out there who haven't been able to speak out yet. I believe that even in that case, only a small percentage came out and shared their issues. What usually happens is that when someone faces an issue, they become afraid to talk about it.
As Balumgala is one of the most popular programs of Neth FM, it garnered listener participation and discussion. There were over 1,200 responses in the forms of calls and text messages for the radio campaigns. All materials prepared prior to the campaigns, including messages to be read on air, drama storylines and scripts, questions and information put online, were all reviewed before airing.
It was a fully planned out initiative between all the departments, be it promotions or programming. We discussed how best to take this to the people, and accordingly, the promotions department organized this initiative.
Neth FM, together with 8 members from Lanka Youth Organisation Network, Leon, previously trained on gender-based violence, conducted an intensive street campaign. It was primarily on raising recognition of domestic violence as a social issue. The root cause of gender-based violence, being the imbalance of power between men and women, was also highlighted.
We covered
24 towns in 12 districts in the course of 10 days. Many men came forward to place their signatures on the book. This goes to show that they are allowing themselves to be sensitive about the issue.
A signature campaign was also conducted around a pledge. I pledge my support to become a part of the solution to domestic violence. I believe this as a responsibility of the society to eliminate it.
We use different methods like explanation and handing out leaflets personally. We also gave out stickers and had a conversation with them. Many inquired as to what domestic violence is. We then explained and educated them on it.
It was the first intensive street campaign of its kind on domestic violence and involving a media organization like Neth FM. Over 10,000 people participated from 26 towns in 12 districts. 50,000 pamphlets on information pertaining to domestic violence were disseminated. The campaign got a lot of positive feedback from community members, engaged youth, members of the religious community, police, and general public.
There were many people who heard about this campaign via the radio, especially through trailers and live updates, and participated in it. This was the main reason for its success. When compared to other promotions, we had a better response from the public.
At the end of the campaign, the book with signatures was handed over to the Minister of Child Development and Women's Affairs. WDP proactively sought to work with non-traditional partners who were willing and interested in learning about gender-based violence and embraced gender-based violence prevention as a contemporary social marketing issue targeting a large audience base. In light of the increasing use of modern communication technology, Z Messenger, a private company specializing in mobile technology, undertook a pilot campaign on violence against women.
Prevention of gender-based violence, we were part of handling the SMS campaigns. We did SMS awareness on prevention of gender-based violence, and then we did SMS opinion polls, and then we developed a website for this entire project.
Given that a large percentage of the Sri Lankan population are mobile phone users and text messages is one of the easiest forms of communication with a person having a mobile phone, the campaign aimed at increasing recognition and engagement of ordinary citizens and the private sector in the issue of violence against women through mobile phones and related social media.
This was just another campaign for us initially. But we actually we were taken for a workshop, and we were given a brief understanding of prevention of gender-based violence. So from there onwards, we started our campaigns.
It was based around 75,000 mobile phone subscribers receiving a series of informative SMSs on violence against women, including facts and statements on gender-based violence, recognizing signs of violence against women, and tips for bystander action. Text messages were also used as an interactive medium through which public could engage on the issue. The campaign included asking subscribers about crucial questions around violence against women. It helped to better understand the public perception around the issue. While the campaign disseminated information on violence against women and garnered much feedback and responses from individuals about their perceptions, it was difficult to gauge the wider impact made on the issue. Another creative medium was to use art as a means of raising recognition for the issue. Manna Women's Development Federation, MWDF, is one of the few organizations working on gender-based violence issues in the district of Manna.
We wanted to raise awareness of school children on gender-based violence issues. Gender-based violence should be taught at the school level so that at that age they can be taught to prevent it.
Students were engaged in workshops on gender equality and encouraged to artistically express their understanding.
We underwent a workshop and we learnt a lot. Girls and boys from several schools participated in the workshop.
We thought that it would be a good idea to draw some of the cartoons in public places. We made arrangements to draw these paintings on 3 locations: in Manna Town, Pesale, and the war-affected Manthai West. We decided to draw the paintings on the walls of the Manna District Secretariat and the Divisional Secretariats of Pesale and Manthai West.
These colourful creative expressions were well received by government officials of the 3 divisional secretariats and general public at large.
After the walls were painted, they became very popular and several people like the divisional secretary, those from the hospital and other departments made inquiries about the paintings. Parents of the students who painted the drawings were very happy about the initiative. They were mostly happy that the paintings had a big reach to the public.
We must engage ourselves more in initiatives to prevent gender-based violence.
Students too were very happy to engage in this. Also, as these paintings were further reproduced in the Veerakesari newspaper and Kosam Tamil magazine and the MWDF annual calendar.
I also have the confidence now to move freely with everyone. Earlier, I would be one of the bystanders when there was a problem faced by a woman or a girl somewhere in our area. But now, I look to see whether I can do anything to solve the problem. I have developed that mindset, and I will definitely try to help.
Women Development Federation, WDF, is an organization working on economic enhancement of women in Hambantota district. It implements a vigorous microcredit and savings program with an extensive membership base of over 50,000 women. Community activism was a key aspect of the project supported by WDP, which aimed at preventing gender-based violence. During International Women's Month 2010, WDF held a public walk against violence against women in Hambantota with over 500 community women participating. WDP intensively worked towards building the capacity of core members of WDF and their extended membership of women to better understand and deal with these issues at the community level. In 2011, a special event was held as a highlight to their 3 years of work and achievements. Over 1,000 women participated in this event. The event had 11 stalls, each with a particular theme about gender-based violence and done by a WDF member and individuals associated with WDF. Themes included gender-based violence and impacts on women, gender equality, supportive services, and legal remedies for victim survivors, and masculinity and patriarchy. Although these were designed and led by women, its objective was to encourage male participation as well.
ප්‍රදර්ශන කොටියේ මම අංශ කීපයකට බෙදාගෙන මුල්ම අංශයේ විදියට
We set up the stall in 3 different ways. Firstly, questioning things that disrupts equality.
දෙවෙනි අංශයේදී
Secondly, the disadvantages of inequalities between men and women. Thirdly, how equality is constructed and what the benefits are to men, women and the society on the whole. Instead of someone coming and just looking at or reading about the subject, we gave an opportunity to hear, see and then work on the issue. It was under these various levels that we designed this exhibition stall.
There were selected performances by various branch networks of WDF on gender equality and gender-based violence. These performances were selected through a competitive process